In our last session, we read a letter from a man who was angry at his boss for lying to him about the terms of his employment. I pointed out to him how unproductive his anger was from several perspectives and suggested that he quit looking at what his boss should do differently and instead consider what his own choices might be. Now, back to the writer of the letter. People tend to charge into a situation with their priorities all screwed up, and as a result, they do very poorly. Multifaceted decisions have to be made as you would build a house from the foundation up. You have to make the most important decision first and go from there. The first question I would ask is this: even though your boss has lied to you, could you continue to work for him? This is an important question. On the one hand, this may have been an unusual behavior on his part. Maybe the company was in a cash flow crunch at the time. I don't know. On the other hand, his changing your contract also reflects a willingness to both lie to you and to devalue the worth of your contribution to the company. You have to ask yourself if you're willing to go back to work every day at a place where the boss is both dishonest and unloving in these ways. I don't know the answer to that question. If you decide it's not worth working at such a place, then you have to leave. If you're not, as you implied in your letter, if you're not willing, to work at such a place, you're not stuck there. If you stay working at a place because you feel stuck, you will be living in hell, and that is no place to be. Don't do it. You may come up with excuses like, but I have a house. I can't afford to move. You can move. It may be expensive in the short term. It might require loans. It might require begging the help of friends or family. It might require living in a tiny little apartment for a while. It might require sacrifices for a while. But you can quit this job. If you don't want to work there, you are not stuck, and don't believe that for a moment. If you do leave, do it immediately, and do not leave with anger. Now, you'll be tempted to do it, to leave with anger, but don't. You'll be tempted to throw it in his face and blame him. Be calm. Simply show him the contract that you agreed to the first time, and inform him that these were the terms that you had agreed to when you made your arrangements to move to the new city. Now that the terms have been changed, you have simply withdrawn your employment, as any employee would after failure of fulfillment of a contract. No drama, no accusations. That's just how contracts work. When one party fails to keep his end, the other party is freed from his end also. For example, I agree to pay you $10 if you deliver me a bushel of potatoes, but then you don't deliver the potatoes. I'm no longer obligated to pay you $10. Your employer agreed to do certain things on one hand, and you agreed to work for him on the other hand. But then he didn't deliver those things, so you are not obligated to work for him. Contract void. But what if you do decide to stay and work for him? Is there any room for negotiation here about this contract that you have been offered? Or do you have to lie down and accept what he's offered? Oh, there's lots of room for negotiation. And we'll talk about that in our next session.